I worked through different startups, but I didn't really know what to focus on. Through Miss and Match, I found basically the startup world. When you start a business, you are basically everything. You are everything from the cleaner to the director, and you need to be able to manage everything in between. So sometimes it's a lot. I want to do, I would say, better in world or to improve the world. What I really like is that I'm able to improve other people's work through my work.
Hi, Victor. Thank you so much for coming to the life of a founder. How's it going?
Hello, hello. Nice to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure having you with me. So, this is about you. It's not about your venture. Of course, we are startup oriented, but today we are founder oriented more than startup. So, as we start, would you like to give me an intro into your life, who you are, where you come from, and how it all started?
Okay, no worries. So I'm Viktor. I come from Slovakia. I'm 24. I just finished university where I studied business innovation, and that was my also intro to the business world, I would say. And where I worked in previous like corporate jobs, I worked to different startups, but I didn't really know what to focus on. And through Miss and Match, I found basically the startup world and the founder way. And I found it because I want to do, I would say, better in world or to improve the world, and I wanted to do it through my authentic way, I would say. And I'm very competitive, and I cannot do sports because I have hemophilia. I don't know if you know, it's like the blood disease where your blood doesn't clot well. So I needed to a way to express my competitiveness through other ways, and this is where business helped me as well to basically get my tingling away.
I'm sorry for the heel, but
No, no worries.
I really appreciate your way to do stuff. Many times, I'm sorry, but I'm not a great chef today. Uh, talk to people, they complain, right? So say, I can't do this. They keep complaining on the same stuff. But you got a very different way. You move to a different direction where you can still give the best of yourself. This is beautiful. What is the entrepreneurial motivation behind? So, what I'm saying is, in tech, we try to define a problem and find a solution, okay? And on top of that, building a product service and sell it. Now, for doing this, you need a lot of motivation. If I have a problem, maybe I'm going to fix the problem. I'm going to fix the problem for me. But if I want to fix the problem for everyone, and of course making some money out of it because it makes a lot of sense, that's a different motivation. What's the motivation behind you being an entrepreneur?
I can lead on to this. Basically, there is the idea of painkillers and vitamins. That, for example, when you have people who are in pain, they usually will go for the painkillers, not for the mind vitamins. The painkillers are the needs because they feel the pain, so they need the vitamins. And this for me is basically to do good and to deliver great products as well. So, for example, for us, we do ingredients, and what I really like is that I'm able to improve other people's work through my work, that basically to bring improvements through business into the world and make world a better place. This is basically would be my motivation and the driver behind what we do back home.
When you started, what were the struggles? What did you find the most difficult part at the very beginning?
The struggle is, I would say, I view it as the attacking the day and the day attacks you, or the reactive or the proactive approach, I would say. And being able to understand this, because when you start the business, you are basically everything. We used to say that you are everything from the cleaner to the director, and you need to be able to manage everything in between and juggle everything in between. So sometimes it's a lot, and being able to understand how to set up your day, that you are in charge of the day and not the day is in charge of you, that even though there are unexpected things that can happen, that you are still able to deliver on daily basis because you prepare, you are confident, and you try to deliver what's best.
Me, that's true. I never heard from the cleaner to the executor, but that's true, right? I mean, I remember when I started my first company back then in Milan, I started absolutely in my house. Was 35 square meter house. I set my office there, which was back then a printer. Nobody uses a print anymore, but I'm not the and and the laptop. And of course, I was doing absolutely everything. But this is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. So when you study, when I started with my colleagues, we had our MBA, all this kind of stuff, and they took the way of being a manager, very well paid. And I took the way to be a miserable entrepreneur at the very beginning because you are very miserable. You had no money at all unless you start with money, but was not my case. But the beauty of being entrepreneur is taking care of everything, really from the cleaning to closing the door at night when everything is finished and doing everything in between. It is 10 times better than MBA. So when I talk to founders, I'm not saying you don't need to study, although I have my believing when it comes to how today we teach business. It's totally wrong for me. It's too academic, very little in practical. And when you finish, as happened to me, the MBA, move to the practical world, the real world, and maybe if you use 2%, it's already a lot because you don't even use 2%. But when you start a company, you really understand everything because you need to challenge yourself. You need to face all these problems one by one. And this is where the good comes. This is where you very much learn when you do stuff and not when you study. Are you agree with me?
I can continue on this. The way would be, for example, so if all the learnings and all the teachings would be in books, then the school teachers would be the most successful people in the world. But they are not basically. And I agree with you. I'm especially the same way that I learn through experiences. I'm not able to learn that I read a page or I read a book. Of course, I can take my own share out of it, but I better learn through experiences, through doing stuff. This is the way that my mind at least works. As you said, it's not for everybody. There are people who need to go through the MBAs and all the school stuff because their mind works their way and that's the best way for them. But I think everybody needs to find their own way, how they are able to receive information the best way and then translate it to their work basically.
That's very much. We stand on the same page anyway. We are there. Tell me about your life balance. I mean, being an entrepreneur, did it affect your life in a good and in bad way?
It's hard to tell, at least at the moment. I think when you want to do great things or build a great business or a big business, let's say, the work-life balance needs to be thrown out of the window in some cases because there is no balance in building great things. Sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice, at least in some parts of your life, either it's relationships or other activities, in order to be able to focus on the work. Because I think it's the consistency in your work that delivers great results in long term periods. And when you are able to do the work each day, and even though where you are, for example, not motivated and stuff bad stuff is happening, being able to do at least a little bit day in and day out, that's where you get the great results. But I would say I think it's like best of both worlds, I would say, because out of everything bad, something good comes in a way. That, for example, when I sacrifice a bit more time on the business, I'm able to build great relationships with people, or I'm able to learn stuff that I wouldn't be able to learn before, or I'm able to try stuff that I wouldn't be able to try before. So I think it's like the best of both worlds. You are just you need to be able to understand the sacrifices that need to be made and to basically juggle or balance them in a way that suits you as a person, I would say.
Correct. Absolutely. Anyway, it's not. It's not. It's not that simple to find a balance. I still, I still don't have it, and I don't think we'll never. I will never have. I mean, my partner, she always complain with me that I'm not balanced at all. I spend 12, 15 hours a day working. I always say I don't work because I do love what I do. So that's not working. I have a huge pleasure. I get very bored when I'm home. And I hope I can work. And I don't want to be misunderstood, but I hope to die me while working. So which means no, which means living up to maybe 90 if I can, and this will be nice. And working until then, because it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Well, I can't say any problem to work. I mean, the problem is we are not entrepreneur. They can understand what it means loving what you're doing. If you work for others, many times you just go to work for because you need to make some money to live. But this is not our case, so we are blessed. What do you enjoy the most in what you do?
What I enjoy the most, I think it's the unexpected. I would say, and the freedom that being an entrepreneur brings, and the ability, as I said, to be authentic in the way to express myself, to build the business in the way I would do it, to build the culture in a way I would do it, and to see what I can do. I think this is the sky's the limit, or even more. I would say, and to give it my shot and to see where it takes me. And I'm not gonna say in a year, but in 5 or 20 years where I will be. And I think that's the question mark or the magic in it, to that you never know where you can end up, and voila, and you can end up being the best in the world.
That's true. I mean, never give a limit to anything. Absolutely. I mean, you should be realistic in somehow, doing very small steps day by day. But at the day when you skyrocket, we arrive in anywhere if you're good. If you're not good, that's a different story. How do you keep the motivation? Being an entrepreneur requires a huge level of motivation, huge magnitude of resilience. So how do you keep yourself motivated at the same time resilient when bad things happen? Just move on.
I think my motivation comes from that. For example, my mom, that I want to retire her. That's one of my greatest motivation, and I want to make it in time to be able. But I think as an entrepreneur, motivation, it's like it comes and goes. You're gonna wake up on days when you feel tired or you didn't sleep well, where you're not gonna feel like you want to do this work. And I think this is where the discipline and the consistency comes in, and you have to be able to basically carry these two traits over, because there are going to be days when you feel don't feel well, or you feel tired, or something happened where you're not in your A game. And this is the days where you need basically to be able to deliver the work as well, and the consistency of doing it, as you say, day in and day out, small steps every day. I mean, even Rome wasn't built in one day, so it's, step by step. Everything takes time to build great things. It takes time, and I think this is one where what also motivates me, that the progress. For example, now we are called to a little panel discussion, and I did a little presentation where we put like the pictures of our first prototype, then the prototype tower that we had, and now the pilot plant that we have. And it was very nice and motivating to see the progress over the 2 years, and this is what motivates me as well to continue, and where can we end up in a few more years.
That's key. That's key and king in a startup, right? So this is how any founder must move on. And if you can really keep yourself motivated every day, you can move on to the very bad day, because that day is absolutely you face nightmares and you feel actually what I'm doing, why I'm killing myself, why I'm destroying every day. But that's the beauty, right? That's why just few succeed and so many they just give up. You think about failure?
Yes, of course. I think failure is part of life. I don't know a person who didn't fail at least in one part of their life, like relationship, school, work. Everybody fails. I think people care more about failure because of what other people will think of them. And once you, I think, get rid of this idea, then you are able to go to the fullest. Because then, if you try and fail, I think that's the beauty in trying. And if it failed, you need to be able to learn from the failures or the mistakes that you do, and you continue onwards. And this is the best way that you keep building yourself, because everybody fails in life in something. I don't know one person who was complete winner in all in everything, basically just went through life as a winner. So I think this is the main key to this, I would say.
If there is one thing I learned in my life, I'm turning 20, 51, 20, 51 in a few weeks, is be washed, which means let the words and thinking of others just flowing like the water when you take your shower in the morning. Was very difficult at the very beginning. I was taking everything so personal. Now I'm exactly on the opposite way. I don't take anything personal. The life is very, very, it's beautiful. I mean, you just don't care what people think about. But why you should? What's the point, right? In life, people tell you what you should do. If people telling you who you should be, I mean, this telling you what you can do or not. Even when you talk to investors, many times they will tell you, "Oh, you can't do this. You are the only one who knows if you can do or not. Nobody knows you better than you. So let them talk. They can only talk. If people if they don't believe in you, just don't care. Just go your way. That's it. This is how I believe, in my opinion, life should be. We should deal with life. What do you like to do in your spare time?
I would say hang out with my family, friends. I think this is very important to keep the relationships also in the close family and outside, not to just get indulged in the work, but also to keep in touch with everybody. But then I like to work out. I think your health is your wealth, and the ability, not only physical, but also mental. I would say preparing yourself, eat good food, being able to understand what your body requires to put yourself in the best position possible in order to make the basically the best decisions in a way to deliver results in the long term. I think we all have 24 hours. When you spin the roulette of the 24 hours, you have the 24 hours that you can like invest. Okay, 8 hours go to sleep, and then you have the rest. And the choices that you make throughout the day, it's how your life will end up in the future.
I do a lot of sport as well, although now I got injured again. But for me, it's very important. To me, it balances my life. I mean, it cleans my brain. It's extremely important. Extremely. Now I'm working until I can get back to the gym. At least I try to do something. Uh, do you participate in this tech event, for example? What's your take? What's your opinion on tech ecosystem today?
I yes, I participate. I think I like to make connections. At least you can learn something from everybody. I agree or not. I agree. I think at least even if the person is doing let's say a simple job, there is beauty in, on everything, and he definitely knows maybe something more in life. So it's always great to meet people from industry also, since we are also doing tech in the tech world. But I think more of the founders now are too focused on either the tech and not the product itself. That for example you can make a great product with call it like bad tech or shitty tech, and the people will love it. And some people now focus too much on the technology behind it. You know, we made this with this and this and this and included this, but the result is not good and nobody likes to use the product. So I think it's one of these things in the tech sphere, and now everybody uses the buzzwords, you know, AI, blockchain. Everybody throws everything in just to catch attention where it doesn't need to be. Just explain it in a simple way. And also I think when the tech founders are not able to explain themselves in a simple clear manner to where even a general person understands their idea, this is the issue that also runs in the tech world, I would say.
That's right. I mean, in tech, people always we use very nice words. Right? We need to do this to make the world a better place to live. And we do this. But the reality is, a lot is driven by money. A lot is driven by to be rich, and scandals are there every day. So, do you think we talk too much, we act a bit, just very much a little, compared to what can be done? And do you think that the tech has the duty to make this world better?
I think so. I think tech shouldn't be a replacement in doing something better, but it's like a complementary thing to make things better in life. So, for example, let's say we do farming. So, we use tech to improve our knowledge and our understanding of the plants and to improve the growing process. So, I think if it's used in this way, not to basically supplement it, there are many things where tech doesn't have to be used, where people push tech just because they, as you said, want to make money out of it, or they don't see any reason behind it, or as you said, many people are just money driven, that they see that for example now crypto was a big thing, then everybody jumps into crypto, everybody is a crypto guru, everybody is a crypto expert, and they are mainly driven, their motivation comes from money. They want to earn money for themselves, and they don't want to build a product in a way that helps people out in the real world. Also, this was one of the cases where a lot of like crypto project went on, and they failed because there was no use case for them. And this is what happens to tech in all areas, I would say, also agriculture, but also medicine and all these other areas where people just come in because they think they have a great idea, and they are mainly, as you said, like money driven, or they have other drivers behind it, which are not to basically make a good product that is used by the people, and then they fail, and then they blame everybody else, not themselves.
that's, that's so true. I mean, if you can see it with world leaders, right? The world is a mess, period. But if you can sit with world leaders today, you can tell them, please fix this, and this, because that's a seriously nightmare, and it can't be there. What would you like to say to them?
I think it's the way they polarize the public. I would say now it's very difficult when I would say to the leaders, because now when you, for example, I'll use an example of America because it's the left wing or the Democrats and the Republicans, and when you have to fit in one group. But I think most of the people are they fit in more groups. They just like the ideas of from there, from there, from there. The best way would be, for example, they are blue and red, but some people would like to be purple, but now people are forcing them to make the choice to one side and the other side, just because when they don't agree with their views also like the minor details, they are suddenly pushed to the other side. This happens, for example, here in Slovakia as well now, where you are either with one side or the other side. You cannot be like in between, or you cannot have a different view. So I would say the polarizing of the general public in order to basically fit into these categories where you have to either fit or you don't fit in, and then you are basically against the people, and then the stuff happens that's happens now.
That's an extremely smart observation. Actually, I never thought in this way, but that's very smart. That's the problem in UK. That's the problem in US. When you have only two parties, it must be right or left. I come from Italy. I've been living in Italy for 30 years. So in Italy, we have probably 30, 40 parties. But maybe it's too much. But having different choices, it's a good start for sure. Are you concerned about climate change?
Yes, in a bit, I would say. I run a climate driven startup as well. We in agriculture, so we are trying to tackle the effects of agriculture as well. I would say yes, but for example, from what I could say, I see it from the point of agriculture, where it has effects on lives, or at least on the food that we produce, and how it affects everything down the chain. And this can be correlated to more areas, not only food but in other areas where you can see, for example, now there are droughts or many raids, and it creates floods, which then destroys home in many areas, which forces people to move. Or then, for example, when the climate changes in some areas, traditional ways of, for example, farming or doing stuff is not sufficient anymore because of the conditions. So then people have to migrate over, and it creates a lot of problems. It's not, I think it's climate change is not the only problem itself. I think it's like a bunch of problems that are coming together, also because of the effects of the climate change, and they are put then under like a magnifier, which makes them appear as bigger. But I think if people are able to understand what everything plays what role in the world, then we could make it a better, if you make like smarter choices in a way, when a person, for example, I don't know, separating or recycling. I think this is one of the good parts as well. Or doing smart choices that could affect, for example, not sponsoring companies that they are doing better in the world. Let's say moving people out because they want to mine an oil rig over there, so they move to villages with for 400 people away just because they want to mine oil for profit over there. So these all play and role in this, I would say. And yes, it brings a bit of concern, but I think climate change is a combination of also more problems together that are coming in and that are making it a big deal.
Which are the things that really touch you? Which means we all believe in something, right? But there are people very, very strong in what do they believe, and they are really willing to fight for. So there is something that you're very much willing to fight for to the end.
I would say I'm willing to fight in the way that I believe that there is good in everybody, and they just need to find the correct, I would say, the view, or they need to go through the correct experiences or to went through have the correct relationships in a way that they are able to find what drives them, because I think now a lot of people are just stuck in one place and they don't know what to do, and this is what really, not that it's like scares me, but it like discourages me. And I think people need to be guided in a way to basically find the thing that they like, and once they're able to find the thing that they like, we can make a world a better place together. So I think I would find for this, but I think some people are not able to find it themselves. For some people we have to show it to them, or not show but guide them, and this would be like one thing I would fight for.
The best book at author.
The best book. I have many books that I like. I like Robert Greene, The 48 Laws of Power. He has The Art of Seduction as well. I think the psychology behind it, it also connected to the Prince of Machiavelli. And then you have what I like now. It's the Stoicism. I'm in there where I explore this in the philosophy way, and also other. So Marcus Aurelius or Miyamoto Musashi, they have great books on this. The Book of Five Rings or the Meditations. Or then you have from the business world, I would say maybe the principles from Ray Dalio. This is a great book. This is where I modeled my way also to find basically principles that work, and to also when you are able to find these principles in a way, you can start building on them, and this is the way you can develop also yourself, company, other people, and everything basically in life.
Do you watch movie?
Yes, I like watching movies. I don't have much time now to watch a lot of movies, but before I used to.
The best one, and who is for you the best actor ever?
The best, there are many good movies, but I think my most favorite one is Godfather. I think this is one of the movies that I like the most, because of the development of the characters, and you also see, because it reflects the business world in a way that it's all chess basically, and you have to be able to understand how the game is played to make the correct moves, even for example when you don't have a good move to make, to be able to make the good move in that scenario to set up yourself for success in the future. And also basically, as you said, not to overreact to things, because you can only influence how you react to things, you cannot influence how other people react to things. You don't know, for example, if the other person, what happened to him in the morning, that's why he reacted in a way to you. So being able to do this, and being as I said, like proactive, so ability to think ahead, I think this is one of the teachings that I brought from it. And I think that actor in it, the best one is either Al Pacino or Marlon Brando. But I would say I would juggle between both of them. They were able to represent the character very well, that you are able to take your learnings from it and implement it into your own life.
I love brand. I mean, when I started, I didn't, my life, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an actor. So I started studying, and I watched Padrino probably 30, 40 times, number one. And number three, number two, I don't like that much. And also the last tango in Paris, probably 50 times. As De Niro said, Marlon Brando is something above normality. In Padrino number one, Brando is, wow, it's shocking. But the funny thing is, they didn't want him. They refused to have him because he was an absolutely crazy guy who was just walking away from the set. He was not disciplined at all. But in the end of the day, they took him and has been a masterpiece. What life, you're young, but up to date, what life has been teaching you and the best lesson that life gave to you?
There are many of them, I would say, but I'll repeat what I said also before. I think everything good in life takes time. I think also like journey of the 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and this is what I try to do is basically to make progress step by step. And also, what do I said, like the Rome wasn't built in a day. Everything takes time. Also, the good things in life takes time. You cannot build $1 billion or a unicorn in 2 weeks. Basically, it's impossible. So it's step by step. This is also translated to relationships with people and business and all the other areas, because it takes time to build up stuff, and especially if it's the good and meaningful stuff that you deeply care of. And I think this is one of the teachings, because now people try to rush everything. I think we live in an environment where now with the internet everything is fast. Everybody wants to have results instantly. I want this, and tomorrow. And if people think that they read one book and tomorrow they're able to build like $1 billion company. No, it takes time also to develop yourself. I think also with people, it's like it's more of it's I wouldn't say it's hard to build a good company. Of course it's hard, but I think it's harder to put yourself in the mental mindset of being a good entrepreneur. I think this makes way better things because you are the main driver of the business as a founder as well, and you model a lot of things, and it takes time to also develop yourself and to constantly learn, basically, to be able to learn from things and to constantly build on things, to not be able to, for example, if you have some strengths and weaknesses, to focus on fixing up the weaknesses. Do what you are good at and find the people for the other things that you are bad at, because then you are just wasting time, because you can find people who are good at that, who are naturally good at that, and this is the way to do it, I think so. And many people try to, I'm good at this but I'm bad at this, so I'll focus on this, in my opinion at least, is a waste of time, because do the things you are already good at, because those are the things that will bring you most fruit in the end, and hire for the things that you are not good at, because there are people who are naturally good at those things. So this is the way to do it. And of course it will take time also. If you build a new team, it takes time to gel, to understand, to build the correct culture, everything. So it just give it some time.
Correct. I mean, let the one who knows and are much better at you to do stuff that you can do. What's the point? Even try.
Exactly.
Your greatest wish.
My greatest wish, I would say, so everybody is able to achieve their goals and dreams. That is my greatest wish.
No, if I'm asking you, we close with this. If you can recommend something to all the founders watching this podcast, what would you say to them?
I'll say just do it. I think if you want to try, just try it. You never know what can come up out of it. I know many people are scared to become an entrepreneur. Of course, it's not for everybody because of the hardships, and it's basically a roller coaster sometimes, that you have the high highs and the lower lows, because one day everything is working, everything is awesome, and the other day everything's fall apart and you lose customers, and so you have to be able to prepare also yourself mentally in a way that. But I would just give it a shot. What's the worst that can come out of it? The worst thing is that you learn something and you are able to take it home with you and use it in another thing. So I think this is one of the things that I would say to founders or possible founders in the future. Just don't be scared. As you said also, when people tell you don't do it, or I don't believe in you, it takes a bit of like confidence, and also being blind in some points, that okay, I believe myself and I know if I'm able to deliver work throughout the period, it will deliver results. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in a year, but I know my time will come. If you open enough doors, then one door will be the correct one, and you have to be only right once in life. And also I think if somebody is stuck, it's either they don't have the correct information or they haven't shaken enough hands. I think this is the most two important things in business, because business is also about relationships. So being able to understand this and take it, because even though if you meet somebody who's just starting out at the company, you don't know where he will be in 5 years. Maybe he will be the CEO, and then if you made the great connections, you have a warm lead already, or warm lead, I will call it, but you have somebody who you already know, who went from the bottom to the up. So I think just don't be scared, just do it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I think the worst case is just you learn from it, and then you are ready to do another thing.
Victor, thank you so much for coming to the Life of Found. It's been an absolute pleasure for me. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me as well.